Good morning, everyone. I welcome you to the Thursday, November 7th, 2024 Public Works Committee. And with that, for roll call, we have myself, Councilmember Swarthout, and Councilmember Althauser in attendance. Councilmember Jefferson is excused. First order of business, we have to approve the minutes from the Public Works Committee, October 3rd, 2024, and October 17th, 2024 minutes.
And move that we approve the minutes.
Okay, I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. I probably should check too if there's any changes to the agenda. We've got quite a few little items on here today, so keep us busy. So,
morning, no changes from.
All right. So the first one up is the interagency agreement with Washington Department of Commerce for the Tumwater Fire Station solar and storage feasibility. And Dan is up.
Good morning, council members. I am going to try something new with my screens this morning to try and get this presentation to show for you. So hopefully you'll see what I'm about to show here, which would be the solar plus storage. You see the slides. Okay, fantastic. Now if I can figure out where the other piece went on my computer, I should be all right. Well, I can't, so we're gonna just go with it and figure out what we've got here. So good morning. I'm Alyssa Jones-Wood, aka Dan Smith, presenting on this project here for the storage plus solar plus storage feasibility project. You had seen one last year, very similar to what's being proposed today for the City Hall and library building. Just as a quick reminder, the solar plus storage really is a project to provide kind of some balance to the electric grid when with all the solar projects that have been being undertaken. And so basically, just as you would have in a water system in a reservoir to store some water to supply the community and the projects it serves, a battery basically stores the solar power to making it useful, in times it's needed when it might not be, the solar power might not be readily available. And basically, as Alyssa points out here, it's useful for reducing electricity bills, emissions, and providing that resiliency in the event of the power outages. It's also connected to the city's priorities, strategic priorities and goals for 23 to 24. Namely, continue to update and advance priorities within the climate mitigation or the climate action plan. It's also connected to the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, continue to work with public building solar. So before we get to the new project, just want to give you a quick overview on the last project, kind of just an update on that. For the City Hall project, as you know, we have a existing backup diesel. The feasibility work that was done for that work found that the design produced could provide a resiliency window of about 20 hours. And so, the backup generator would have an additional, or the gap between the power outage and the diesel generator coming on would be about 20 hours more using the battery backup power. It has a cost of about $1.4 million upfront costs, which is fairly expensive. And so we are actively looking for additional grants to help support the construction of that project, plus the project for the library. And overall, they're anticipated at 32.5% emission savings for the building by utilizing this project, constructing that project and making it active. What we see here is that the solar power that we do have on the City Hall facilities really provides us about less than 7% of our total operating electric needs. Regardless, you continue to build into these systems. The additional solar panels will add additional power, and then the backup, as we said, with the generator gives us, or the backup with the battery gives us power. Also, not necessarily just in terms of power outages, but also when power is less available from a solar perspective. On the library building, the library is really the only heating and cooling shelter the city has, and there's no current backup power on site. So this project would add an additional resiliency window of about 22 hours. It also has a $1.4 million upfront capital cost And as with the City Hall, this one has a higher priority, and we're looking for grants to actively initiate this in construction. And it converts to a 69% emission reductions for the building, making sure that once this project is able to go active. And again, you can kind of see what would result in basically a zero bill power bill in the summertime when those systems are active. Where City Hall has a much higher power demand, given all the staff and computers and all of the things that City Hall does. The library has a less power, has a lower power demand, and these facilities would actually cover their energy demand in the summer, which is fantastic. So as I mentioned, looking to get some grant funding. Ideally, they'll cover 70%, if not more, of those total costs. And with the new direct pay program that finance and legal and lots of folks around city have helped implement, we'll be able to get 30% of that cost recouped through the IRA direct pay program. So now moving into the new storage and feasibility project, we're looking at again receiving some we did receive some grant funding of $50,000 with no city match, based on Washington's Climate Commitment Act. So we're looking to put that into work at both the city's fire stations. And, very similar to what you just saw for both the library and the City Hall. Those are the same kinds of feasibility assessments that will be done for both the fire headquarters and the T1 building. And I know we are going to be, again, working with Olympia Community Solar as part of that project. This is really just a request for the commerce agreement to make sure we can get the grant going. And this is the grant agreement with Commerce. So the request for you today is to place the interlocal agreement with Washington Department of Commerce for Tumwater Fire Station solar and storage feasibility. On November 19, 2024, City Council consent calendar with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign. I believe that's it. That I will just stop sharing and stand available to whatever questions you might have that I might be able to answer.
Michael.
I don't think I have any questions. Straightforward.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I just wanted to, when I was reviewing the minutes, I saw something that caught my attention was that based on the fleet electrification forecast, the city could reduce its gasoline consumption by more than 70% by 2030, which is amazing. So I just always want to call out the things that we're doing and that we are moving the needle, and just want to recognize your work and Alyssa's work on this as well. So just really appreciate that. So we're moving ahead. All right. Well, with that, we have a recommended action before us. Do we want to go ahead and read that again, or do we just go ahead? Approve?
I move that we adopt the motion as presented.
I'll second. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Dan.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Now let's see. Moving on to our next item. Are you up again?
I believe I am up again.
All right, Dan. Dan will be presenting the grant from the Department of Ecology for the golf course stormwater.
This time I brought in some. Correct. So. Yep. So this one, let me just make sure I can pull up the right grant agreement request that we have for you here. We've got Meredith. I got some support here from Meredith on this project. This is another fairly straightforward one with an interesting twist from the Department of Ecology. I'll let Meredith get into that one. But when she's done with giving you kind of an overall update on this, we'll come back in and provide the requested action for you. Meredith.
Thanks, Dan. Yes, this will be super quick, and I don't even have a presentation today. I had come to you all back in June with a grant agreement update from the Department of Ecology for the golf course stormwater retrofit project. That project is well underway. We've got 60% designs completed, and this grant agreement and amendment we have today is just to update some clerical errors that were made on Ecology's end of this. The things that are changing are the start date for the project is being backdated to what it originally was. It had gotten somehow switched when we had done our first amendment that increased the timeline for the project. And then the second part is that because of Ecology's grant system, it kind of created a couple new amendments. Ultimately, this says that it's grant amendment number 4, but 2 amendments were kind of canceled out. And so for the city of Tumwater's sake, this is only grant amendment number 2. So everything is completely clerical. The cost for the project and the scope have stayed the exact same. We just kind of have to go through the procedure to officially adopt everything again. With that, I'm happy to take any questions or kind of throw it back to Dan to make the staff request.
Yeah, one of the important things for that start date, once that got amended in the system, to some advanced timeline, that really, negates any kind of charges that the city can apply towards this project and get reimbursed for. And so, that was definitely important for our part. And then the amendment number issue within Ecology's grant system, it just kind of highlights some of their complexities that they have with that program. And if you've ever had to work with the Ecology Eagle system, it is definitely a challenge, and Ecology is well aware of that. So as Meredith suggests, it's just really kind of clerical, on this part, but we have to formally go through it. And with the mayor as a signatory to this, we are asking that you place amendment number 2 of the Department of Ecology grant for golf course stormwater retrofit project on the city council consent calendar, I believe on the May 19th, 2024 calendar, with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign.
All right, so it sounds like a little cleanup item that we're working on. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So
wish we had something more substantive on this part to update you with, but that will come next year when we actually get underway with construction and start bidding this project out.
okay. All right. So is there anything else we need? All right. Okay. So Michael, so we recommended action before us to place amendment 2 on the Department of Ecology grant for the golf course stormwater retrofit project on the city council consent calendar on November 19th, 2024, with a recommendation to approve and authorize the mayor to sign.
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Bringing us all the easy ones this morning, Dan.
Yeah, now we turn it over to the folks who do the real work out there for you today. So thank you very much.
Okay, all right. Now, moving right along then, we are moving to item number 6, acceptance of work with Sound Pacific Construction. And let's see, so it looks like we have Colby up.
Yes.
All right, welcome, Colby.
Morning. Trying to get this set up real quick. Some technical difficulties real quick. So it's spinning right now on my end. Okay. Hopefully you guys. Okay, hopefully you guys were able to see that.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So I guess I'll do a formal introduction. Colby Fletcher, I'm the construction engineer for the city. This is my first time presenting here at Public Works Committee. So I've been with the city for 2 years, and prior to that I did 16 years at WashDOT. So speaking of first project, so 2022 pedestrian improvements project is the one I'm looking to do acceptance of work presentation today. This was the first project I managed coming abroad to the city. So yeah, go ahead and get brass tacks. So this project consisted of pedestrian crossings that we did, as far as installing 3 new pedestrian crossings, one at Barnes Boulevard, one at Custer Way, and one on Capitol Boulevard, kind of by KFC. And then we also did a bunch of ADA improvements to sidewalk at a bunch of residential streets, as you can kind of see outlined with that rectangular shape sidewalk improvement on this VIC map. So pedestrian crossings, kind of talk to you about all 3 of those that we did. So we installed rectangular rapid flashing beacon right here on Barnes Boulevard at Ridgeview Loop. This one previously did not have any signalized pedestrian crossings, and we did this one specifically because the Tumwater School District approached us on this one. They entered an agreement with us as a city to install this, and yeah, So this is the one at Barnes Boulevard. This is a solar panel application, so. The second pedestrian crossing that we installed was one right here in front of kind of KFC Happy Teriyaki on Capitol Boulevard. This is one, again, a signalized pedestrian crossing. This is being a multi-lane roadway and it kind of being heavily traveled. This one was prioritized. So that's the reasoning behind this one. The third pedestrian crossing that we installed was the south approach at Capitol and Custer. So this one was a signalized as part of the actual intersection signal. My understanding is that we were reinstating this one as part of this project because it was removed from a previous project the city had done, and we didn't have the funding secured. So that's the reasoning for this one. Moving along to the residential streets and the sidewalk improvements. So there was a lot of sidewalk deficiencies that we have gone through and identified prior to my hiring with the city and again taking this project on. So a lot of residential streets that were improved as far as sidewalks and driveway entrances. They're just really poor conditions. So kind of the streets that we've improved were Armstrong, Ensley, Hoadley, Moore Street, North-South also. Right here in the pictures above is Middle Street. You can kind of see the ADA improvements that we had gone through and done, just a bunch of cracking and again, poor conditions of all of our sidewalks and going through and addressing those. So, and why we did this one, we did this for walking and rolling on residential streets. And it sounds like, again, prior to my time, all the funding and stuff was secured, but sounds like residential streets are generally harder to secure for funding. So some of our other projects are federal funding and stuff. So that's why these were prioritized for those. Move along. So here's some various construction photos again. So the photo on the left is the trenching for the conduit system for the RRFB right in front of KFC. Here's some other, the middle photo is some ADA improvements at Barnes Boulevard that we needed to construct. So there was not an actual ADA ramp on that southwest corner for the new RFB system that we had installed. And we had to construct that as part of that overall pedestrian crossing, again, improving the safety for all the kids and stuff up there at Tumwater Hill School. And then the other photo on the right is some of the patchback for the curb cuts that were needed to install the sidewalk on Middle Street. So construction summary, project timeline. So this project was a 30 working day contract. Construction started on September 6th of 2022. Substantial and physical completion were issued on the same day, July 10th, 2023. This project had electrical items, so the reasoning behind the delay of that completion date was due to electrical material procurement. There's a big industry lag as far as materials for electrical items and stuff. There's just not very many fabricators and that available. The funding was provided by the Transportation CFP, the Tumwater Benefit District, Tumwater School District, and the City of Tumwater. Again, the contract was awarded to Sound Pacific Construction for $493,337, and the final contract total was $497,877.97. So, I guess with that, anybody have any questions?
I have a question. So the contractor will now be paid for work that was completed in 2023? Is that what that we're looking at? Just seems like that's, I was thinking about the contractor and waiting a year to be after.
Yeah,
work
so
is
they
complete. Is
have
this
been
normal?
paid in full.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
This is just more or less the final acceptance of work. So
Okay.
I probably should have had this scheduled a lot sooner, but with Trosper Road and
Oh,
other
no worries,
back
no worries.
projects,
I was just questioning how this all, yeah, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. No judgment here, just curious about the process, so, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, they have been paid. This is just more or less the performance bonding and all that stuff has to do with this. So I can go to the recommended action for that as far as as far as what we're requesting. So I guess with the recommended action, the staff is requesting the Public Works Committee recommend the city council to accept the 2022 pedestrian improvement project as complete and authorize the release of the performance bond as soon as the state of Washington laws allow. So
Okay. Sounds good. Michael, do you have any questions,
No.
comments? I really thank you guys for the one on Barnes especially, because with the kids going back and forth from Tumwater Hill Elementary and then just the walkers and all, that's a good one. We utilize that quite a bit. So and keeping our roads safe and our pedestrians safe is really important. So I appreciate the work that has been done on this project. So we want people out there walking. So this is good. All right. So Michael, we got the recommended action before us.
Yeah.
Do we want to read it again? I'm sorry.
No, I guess my question is, for the council to accept it, that means that we have to accept it on the consent calendar, correct? Well, or we could do it on consideration, but the motion,
Yeah, the motion is
the staff recommendation is the
for
consent
the consent
calendar, I
calendar
believe,
for,
correct?
yeah, for the 19th. So
Yeah.
all right.
So I guess I'll just say that aloud. I move that we recommend the city council accept the 2022 pedestrian improvement project as complete and authorize the release of the performance bond as soon as the state of Washington laws allow, and that we place that approval on the city council consent calendar once that is allowable. That's rather inarticulate, but I think that we get the gist.
All right, I will second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thanks Colby for your first appearance at Public Works and for this, getting this project all wrapped up. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, moving right along. Back to my agenda. So next up, we have acceptance of work with Miles Resources for the 2023 pavement maintenance project. Item number 7, and Colby, you're back up again. All right.
Yep.
I said
Yeah.
goodbye too soon. So
Yep, 2 in a row. Yeah, no, just for the 2023 pavement maintenance project, acceptance of work, as you alluded to, Miles Resources was our contractor for this one. So here's kind of the vicinity map to kind of showcase the scope of work on this project. We had paving improvements throughout the city. We had raised pavement marking replacements. We had some crack sealing, some plastic pavement marking replacement. We also had some ADA sidewalk improvements as well as part of this, some of this reconstruction and resurfacing. So you can see the long list of paving locations, 83rd M all the way down to First Stop Road. So we there's a lot of paving and stuff on this one. So project overview, project fits within the city of Tumwater's vision, mission, beliefs. It strengthens the commitment to the city of Tumwater strategic priorities goals of 2021 to 2026, creating and maintaining a transportation safety system safe for all modes of travel and ensure sustainable funding to maintain and improve streets and sidewalks. The scope of work included our site investigations and roadway pavement ratings. So these roads were prioritized based on the poor conditions. And we went through the project being a conglomerate of a bunch of different work activities. They were all grouped together just logically to make the project more cost effective and efficient for a contractor, having them secure it. And the improved roadways that were the roadways that were improved included arterials, collectors, and some residential streets. So what this project accomplished, we ended up paving 7 new lane miles of asphalt roads. There was 55,000 square yards of grinding that occurred to accomplish that. So a mill and fill, if you will, is what they call it. We'll resurface that. And 15 tons of roadway crack seal occurred, 4,700 square yards of pavement reinforcement interlayer. We have a bunch of existing concrete panels that reside underneath our existing asphalt on Capitol Boulevard, so that's why that was needed. We had 5,700 yards of pavement and subgrade subbase repair. We installed some forward bioinfiltration galleries, 16,000 new raised pavement markers. 500 square yards of new concrete sidewalk with 17 new ADA ramps and 137 miles of new paint line. So here's some construction photos of the grinding and inlay. So the photo on the left is the grinding operations. And once we grind that, we go through and install a new inner layer. So that's the middle photo. And again, that's kind of to help the just to secure the pavement layer and kind of differential settlements over time with all the load of traffic in respect to the different concrete panel material versus flexible pavement HMA. And then we also had a photo on the right there of paving Lake Park Drive. So here's some construction photos of the auxiliary work. So as I mentioned previously, we installed bioinfiltration galleries. These are some on-site stormwater management installations just to help with drainage and that on the left. So the middle photo is crack sealing for the stormwater infiltration. Just making sure all the cracks and stuff, we don't have any further pavement damage over time due to water penetrating that. And the top right photo is the roadway repair that occurred for kind of the sub base repair. We kind of see all these potholes on the roadway, so that's kind of how we address that. We'll dig it out and then we'll put some new asphalt in it and seal it and all that stuff occurs prior to final paving. And then the bottom right photo is some of the construction of the ADA curb ramps, that one specifically at Market Street right across from Brewery City Pizza. So construction summary, construction timeline. This one was started on June 20th, 2023. And we were able to get this project complete on October 12th of 2023. Physical completion occurred on March 1st of 2024. And I'm trying to remember exactly all the details with that. I think there was some electrical procurement issues delaying that one as well. The funding for this project was secured by the Transportation Benefit District. The engineer's cost estimate was $3,907,963.96. Miles Resources was the lowest bid at $3,857,000. And the final contract total was $4,171,958. So I guess my understanding for this project is that we actually had identified several roads as part of the contract, and knowing that we had the prices that we did, we actually ended up going through and change ordering a couple more streets to this project, knowing that we had the budget to accommodate that. So that's why that says after the additional projects were added there. So there's 2 streets. I can't remember off the top of my head which ones they were, but knowing we were within the budget to do so 10% without having to reconsult with city council on that one. So I guess with that, going to the recommended action before I ask for any questions. So the recommended action with this project is staff requests Public Works Committee recommend the City Council to accept the 2023 pavement maintenance project as complete and authorize the release of the performance bond as soon as the state of Washington laws allow. So I guess with that, any questions?
Michael, any questions?
No, the only question I had was just about the final amount actually being above the engineers, what we estimate. But I think that was explained for why we did that. We actually got a really great benefit out of it by utilizing economies of scale while we're already doing that work. Makes total sense.
Yeah, and all those roads that were prioritized, whatever, those were the next ones on the list that we had added. So out of the street, we just added those. I believe it was 2. I can't remember off the top of my head which ones they were, but yeah. So
okay.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that we have the Transportation Benefit District and we see our dollars at work for sure. So thank you for Public Works for getting as much done as you can on each year on that project or with that funding. So it's very much appreciated. So, all right. So our recommended action is before us. Sorry, stated. So
I move that we approve the recommended action for the consent calendar.
okay, I'll second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So thank you so much. for getting that one secured for us and wrapped up. And so now, let's see, we are on number 8, the authority to solicit bids and recommend award for the Percival Creek Fish Barrier Removal Project.
Okay, good morning, council members. I'm Don Carney, Capital Projects Manager for Transportation Engineering, and we'll start the presentation for Percival. Let's see. Mhm. Okay, so we're able to see that. Let me get it in presentation mode.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, thanks. This is a long-awaited project here. We've been working on the design and grant funding review and approval for the Percival Creek, and now I'm presenting to hopefully request to go to add. So the project started in November 21 is when we signed the service provider agreement with PBS Engineering and their subconsultants, Northwest Hydraulics and Aquaterra. Design was completed June of 24 in a draft form, and then we sent that on to WashDOT for their review and expect their response by November 24. At that point, we're going to turn around and send it back to PBS for final pickup. The project goals is to replace the Percival Creek Fish Barrier beneath Sapp Road. We're going to install a 19-foot wide by 8.5-foot high, 60-foot long concrete split box culvert, wing walls, some in-stream large woody material, and road widening is going to be 11-foot lanes, 6-foot bike lanes, and 5-foot sidewalk. Here's a quick picture of what it's going to look like when it's all done. Nice wide roads. We got those bike lanes, the culvert underneath, and the large woody material on the downstream side. Picture to the right is what the existing culvert was. It's a 5-foot diameter concrete culvert, very narrow, small, and not very good fish passage. Lower right, the cross section is generally what it's going to be looking like. Right now, we can see what this picture shows kind of what the excavation is going to be like. The culvert fitting in there afterwards with stream bed aggregates and inside this culvert. The stream improvements, part of the scope of work is going to be to regrade about 140 feet, and that includes bed sands, cobbles, channel habitat. Install that culvert as mentioned earlier. The culvert's going to contain stream bed material, so concrete bottom is not exposed. That's kind of, the design preference now is certainly to have no exposed concrete for in the ordinary high or at the bottom. So it's more of a natural habitat for fish. And we're going to plant some willows in the wetted perimeter afterwards in the lower area and some shrubs and trees in the upland area. The road improvements is 11-foot lanes, 6-foot bike lanes. We're going to add a 5-foot sidewalk connect to existing sidewalk. Currently, there's we've only got like 2 11-foot lanes, and then immediately after that, small shoulders that go right down to the street channel bottom. So with this improvement, we've got 22 feet of travel lane and 12 feet of bike lane, 5 feet of sidewalk. So the edges of the roadway are going to be quite a ways further away than they are currently. It's going to appear to be a lot safer than it is today. Improved storm drainage system, pavement markings, and of course utilities. Some considerations is because of construction, it's a narrow roadway. We're recommending the road closure for expedited work and safety. When the contractor gets out there and starts excavating down to the bottom of the culvert, it would be very difficult to maintain a single lane through here, and it would not be safe for either the construction workers or traveling public to try to keep them through an open lane. Also, the work can be accomplished more quickly. We are needing to complete this work in a short window. You may be aware that there are fish windows given to us by both Washington State Fish and Wildlife, and then worked within wetlands by the Army Corps, and they're both starting around July 15th and below ordinary high. The HPA is August 31st completion, and within the wetted perimeter, it would be September 15th. So we need to get down there, put our culvert in, and backfill prior to those dates. So a road closure would certainly expedite the work, and it also reduce the footprint of impacts by being able to close the road. So the traffic control, we're going to be putting a notification out about a week in advance with those reader boards or portable message boards, a week in advance, warning people of the road closure. After that, once the project starts, we'll be putting up construction signs for the detour route. We'll be notifying the schools, fire, and property owners nearby. The estimated construction cost is somewhere between $2 and $2.5 million. Funding we've received so far is we've $100,000 for right-of-way acquisition. The city did not own enough property to be able to put in a larger culvert and head walls and wing walls associated with it. So we need to do some property acquisition. We have $2 million from the Protect Fund also for construction. And another grant, $257,550 from RCO for this culvert replacement. Construction schedule is we hope to we should be able to bid December of 24, award the project in January 25. After the award, contractor is going to be designing the box culvert. The city and the state need to review the shop drawings of that box culvert. So contractor can get fabricating hopefully in the spring of 25. Construction will start about June, July, and go through September of 25. We got a 70-day working window for this project. Construction should be substantially complete in September, and we'll be able to reopen the road also in September. Staff request Public Works Committee authorize staff to solicit bids for Percival Creek Fish Barrier Removal Project, recommend council award, and authorize the mayor to sign. Public Works lowest bidder, and recommend city council authorize closure of Detour Sap Road from Crosby to R.W. Johnson. So that's what I have. Any questions?
Michael.
Yeah, so the road will be closed for the full 70 days.
That
of
is correct.
Construction.
That's our
And-
recommendation.
Okay. And in terms of council action, like there's this motion before us here, it would go to the full council. And that's the authority to solicit bids and also do the closure. But there wouldn't be another council vote before we would actually begin things, correct?
That's correct. We're looking for that to happen at this time.
Okay. So would you mind pulling up the motion again, just so we could see the text of it?
Councilmember Althauser, I believe we would have to come back after we bid.
Right.
And we have the low
Accept
bidder, we
it.
come back for award.
Oh, so we would have to vote on the award of the contract after the bid?
Correct. Typically, if the bids come back within about 10% of the engineer's estimate that we give you, we would come back on council consent for award unless it's pulled or if council wants to discuss it, but there will be one more action before construction starts.
It's just with a closure for that long, it'll be disruptive to people who live right there. It'll be, this is something we really need to do that we absolutely have to do, but we should just be real that it'll be disruptive. So I'm sort of inclined that it be on consideration instead of consent to just increase transparency so that people have an opportunity to sort of see it on the agenda as a consideration. There's a more thorough public discussion of the closure and things like that. So that's probably my preference. If we did that, then maybe the award could go to consent. But if we're authorizing the we're authorizing the road closure with this motion. So I think that
Yeah.
should probably be on consideration instead of consent, since that'll be disruptive to folks.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Unless we wait and do the road closure one when we do accept the bid, but it seems like giving our residents more notice would be probably more appropriate at this point to give them a heads up, so.
Not only that, the having the road closure is going to dramatically decrease the prices as well, just due to efforts and timing for the contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, being one that drives through that almost daily, it's gonna be interesting, changing traffic patterns.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Dawn, would you be able to just pull up the motion again and share the screen so I could read it off? Great.
Okay.
Great. I move that, so I guess when would, we don't have a date for a meeting for when we actually vote on this,
mhm.
but the council does have to vote on it, right?
So the council does not have to vote on going to bid. That is handled by Public Works Committee. But the two recommendations would be required by
Okay.
council.
Mhm.
So actually awarding the contract is not going to happen for a while because we're going to go out to bid. We'll have to evaluate those before they go to council, likely on consent. Don and I and Bill will discuss action 2. So right now it would just be a recommendation to city council, but we will discuss timing.
Okay.
It may behoove us to go into council sooner on that one.
Okay. So it sort of sounds like maybe I have two motions where one motion is that we solicit bids for the removal.
1 and 2.
And then one and, well, 2 would have to go back
1
to
and 2.
council anyway. But
Yeah.
one would be solicit bids, and that's just that motion. 2 would be that we recommend the council award and authorize on the consent calendar. And 3 would be that we recommend the council have a consideration item authorizing closure and detour.
Yes, you could do it that way.
Okay.
Either way, we're definitely gonna be doing what you're asking, because even if we put it the closure on consideration, you would then just pull it, of course. But we do have our marching orders for sure on number 3 will be consideration.
Okay. Okay. So I guess with that, I mean, I could make one motion doing all 3 things, so I'll just do that. I move that we that the Public Works Committee authorize staff to solicit bids for the Percival Creek Fish Barrier Removal Project, that we recommend City Council award and authorize the mayor to sign a Public Works contract with the lowest responsible bidder on a future consent calendar at a council meeting, and that we recommend City Council authorize the closure and detour of Sapp Road from Crosby to R.W. Johnson for the duration of the project as a future City Council consideration item.
Well spoken, thank you. I'll second Michael. Thank you. Keep us all straight. All right, those in
Well,
favor
we need
say
to-
aye.
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say we still need
Oh.
to vote on it, but aye.
Aye. Oh. Voted, thank you. Thank you for breaking
you.
that down, Michael. Appreciate that. All righty, and now let's see, we're on our last item, it looks like, for the old Highway 99 and 79th Avenue Roundabout Schedule 74 Underground Conversion Design Agreement with Puget Sound Energy. And who do we have up this morning?
Would be me again. Don Carney, Capital Projects Manager. Am I on that list?
We don't,
Is it-
well, now, yes, we do now. Yeah, I see that. I probably packed
Okay.
it up.
Great, thank you. Yeah, let me again share screen. try to get this presentation. Okay, so this is a project that we've been working on for a while now, a design project. It's the old Highway 99 79th Avenue roundabout. So at the intersection, it's currently a stop controlled intersection, and we're changing it to a roundabout intersection. It'll be also include some frontage improvements, curb gutter, sidewalk, road widening along the properties that are going to be future operations and maintenance facility and future Trails End Park. Part of these city projects is we're trying to underground all of the utilities, and there's a Schedule 74 underground conversion design agreement that we need to look into at this time. So the project would be to underground approximately 3,400 feet of overhead power. You can see on this map that I've got some undergrounding on Old Highway 99 from about the entrance to Spuds to near southern entrance or the southern part of Pick and Pull, and then along 79th near Trails End Drive. We're going to do Trails End Drive itself out to Corona Lane, and then 79th from that's close to Coffin's headquarters out to the end of Arab Drive, the east end of Arab Drive. PSC service connections will be made part of this design, meaning we're going to be reconnecting to all the businesses as we go underground. We've got to reconnect. So the agreement, Schedule 74 design agreement with Puget Sound Energy, they'll be providing us with a scope of work, complete design of underground system. They're going to do construction plans, operating rights, a work schedule, and a construction cost estimate, and that all comes with this design agreement. The cost of the design has been estimated at $140,000, with a split of 60% to PSE for $84,000, and the city picks up the remaining 40% is $56,000. The next phase is the construction agreement. So we're just asking for a design agreement right now with council. PSC responsibility on the construction agreement is to provide design of all underground facilities, supply conduits, transformers, install electrical system, coordinate complete changeovers, as mentioned, service connections, remove all overhead utilities, including poles, and provide project inspection services. So the most recent project, if you're familiar with the Israel Road, almost everything is down. Israel right here in front of City Hall was also a Schedule 74, and so it looks much better with everything out of the way, and we're expecting the same down at 79th roundabout. Our responsibility is going to be to construct all the construction, install service transformers. What we're looking recommended action is staff requests Public Works Committee recommends City Council approve and authorize mayor to sign the Puget Sound Energy Schedule 74 underground conversion design agreement to design utility underground conversion for the old Highway 99 79th Avenue roundabout project. Any questions?
None for me.
Not at this point. I was just saying about the construction piece of it, but this is excellent that we're with the projects that we're continuing to work on to underground these as much as we possibly can, the underground utilities. So I appreciate that with this project as well. So thank you for that. All right, so we do have the recommended action in front of us, and so request that Public Works Committee recommend the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to sign the Puget Sound Energy Schedule 74 underground conversion design agreement to design the utility underground conversion for the old Highway 99 and 79th roundabout project and place it on the November 19th, 2024 City Council consent calendar. All right,
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
Good, thank you.
It's nice to see some of these projects that we've been working on for a while, getting closer and closer to being a reality. So thank you, team, for all the work that is making this possible. Oh, all right. And with that, do we have any other items to discuss today? How are we doing? No? Brandon, you feeling better? So-
I'm feeling better, but I'm in a house full of kids that it just keeps on circling back around.
Got it. All right. Well, with that, then you feel better, and we will go ahead and I will call the Thursday, November 7th, 2024 Public Works Committee adjourned. Have a good day, you guys. Thanks.